Hi, Year Fives. It's quite refined for our reading. As you know, when we analyse, we pick apart the information. Ooh, scribbling. Just to enjoy. Then we clarify, and then we read it again if needed, and have a look at some questions. But if we're at home, don't worry. We'll simply have a little look at analysing. So, obviously, you've got your pen and paper. You might just want to jot down words or a question that you might have. I can obviously scribble on here. If I just check this works, where am I? Over here. So I can scribble on here. Get rid of that now as well. So just write things down. So here's our text today. Everest. We don't need to worry about the metamate or whatever we're focusing with our reading yet. We just need to enjoy the text. A dangerous place. Everest in the high Himalayas. Now, you may not know what that is. Stands tall and firm, a giant unmoved by wind or snow, the air too thin for plant or animal life. Climbing Mount Everest is hard and dangerous work. Even with the aid of modern technology, the fittest of climbers may experience the effects of, hypoxia. No idea what that is. Then their dreams of reaching the summit of the highest mountain in the world are over. Although it looks like it gets explained here. So cerebral hypoxia, here we go, is caused by lack of oxygen to the brain. Now, lack, you might not know, lack of oxygen means you don't get enough. Lack of something means you don't get enough. People with cerebral hypoxia show signs of impaired judgment. You might not know what that is. Maybe you want to check what that means. If something's impaired, you can say your vision is impaired, your hearing is impaired, if that's a clue. They become confused as their condition worsens. They do not know where they are or what they are doing. People who recover from this type of hypoxia, and that's obviously the same word, I'm not going to underline that again, remember going into a trance-like state. Trance-like state. If you go into a trance, you want to check what that means. It's kind of like you go into a trance, it's kind of like you're hypnotized with it, like it's a bit of a dream, you can't quite tell where you are, in which events and objects were magnified out of proportion. Many do not recover. In 1996, 8 people died in a single day on Everest. Research is underway to find out more about the effects of altitude. You may want to check what altitude means on the human body. Scientists are interested to understand why people's abilities in mountain conditions vary so much. Some climbers on Everest can trudge through heavy snow and climb cliffs at their maximum capacity for hours without even the assistance of oxygen. Others struggle to breathe in the thin air, some collapse and are unable to carry on. So basically, why is it that people react so differently in these conditions? These scientists know that the larger the lungs, the more oxygen the lungs can absorb. So that makes sense. The bigger your lungs, the more oxygen you can take in, which means the more oxygen your blood carries, your organs receive, your brain receives. That all makes sense. This oxygen is in turn picked up by the blood, and delivered to the muscle tissues. Perhaps this is an important clue to people's varying abilities. So this paragraph here, along with this bit here, is all to do with research. Now, I'm making notes of what each paragraph is because it's quite a large piece and it's quite wordy as well. Research of people and effects. I think up here, this one, I'm going to put, what is it called? Hypoxia. In your book, you might want to just put, this is number 1, 2, 3, that would be 4, 5, 6 is a big one, 6, 7, that's part of that one, 8, 9, 10. You might want to do that and in your book just quickly write, maybe summarize, just write that's this one, because there's a lot of I can see there's a lot of information on here. Sorry, I'll carry on. Just a thought. Adjusting your body to thin air, allowing it to get used to lower levels of oxygen is vital if a climber wants to tackle Mount Everest. On early expeditions, you should recognise that by year 5, I suppose, going on an expedition to Mount Everest. Climbers trekked for weeks to get to base camp. What's a base camp? Question on that. Which gave people's bodies time to adjust. Today, climbers are flown into Lukla, a Sherpa village don't know what Sherpa is. Where it takes just 10 days to reach base camp. This shortens the amount of time climber has to acclimatise. Ooh, what's that? Acclimatise to the thin air. That makes sense. So they're saying that because rather than have weeks and weeks of getting to like base camp, people can get there very quickly. Their body doesn't get used to it. Once at Everest base camp, there follows a period of further acclimatization. Now there's that word again, acclimatization. If you work out what acclimatize means, it might help you a lot. Base camp is situated. Situated? What's that? Why something is situated? On a glacier that constantly shifts and moves beneath your feet. It is an inhospitable, good word, inhospitable place filled with the brightly coloured tents of climbers who are anxious, we should know that, we talked about that in assembly, to make it to the top. The climb to Mount Everest summit begins with a traverse of the Khumbu Icefall. Now, I don't know what it is, but I'm guessing it's a name because it starts with a capital letter. I'm guessing it's a proper noun. Here we go. This is a steep glacier. I might not know what glacier is. Filled with deep crevices and huge ice blocks. It should be climbed in the early morning when the sun has not yet warmed the snow and ice. Okay. Climb it in the early morning so it doesn't melt a little bit. A mass of fixed ropes and ladders across the crevices, there's that word again, to enable climbers to get across the glacier. Without them, no climber would make it through. It is a dangerous start to the climb, for the ice fall is unpredictable. The giant blocks of ice which dominate the area can weigh up to 30 tons each. These blocks can shift without warning, and crevices can cave in, taking climbers with them. Later in the day, the ice fall becomes even more unpredictable and unstable. To cross it would be foolhardy. I'm guessing that means foolish in the extreme. So paragraph 6 is all about the Khumbu Icefall. So I'm going to put paragraph 6. It's all about the Khumbu Icefall. Climbing higher, one faces further risks such as acute mountain sickness. Now we know acute angles. I wonder if there's a similar meaning. The early signs of this are a headache followed by dizziness, trouble sleeping, and nausea. Now we should recognise the word nausea. A person may lose their appetite and be reluctant. You should recognise the word reluctant to drink. As the sickness develops, the nausea continues, and the sufferers begin to have problems with their balance and coordination. Maybe you want to check what coordination means. Should these symptoms appear, it is important that the climber seeks immediate medical advice and goes back down the mountain for a while to a place where lower altitudes will allow the body a chance to recover and adjust. There's that word altitude again. Important word for this. Climbers say that in acute mountain sickness, the shortage of breath and lack of sleep are the two most troublesome things. The sickness can attack very quickly. 1 minute you will feel strong and well, and the next you are stricken with a severe headache. It takes time for the body to adapt, but eventually climbers make it. So hang on. So I think 7 and 8, that one and that one. This little bit again. I think 7 and 8 are all to do with like illnesses, symptoms. Can't quite fit it on. It takes time for the body to adapt, but eventually climbers make it up to the high camps and then prepare for their attempt on the summit. They've not even got there. At 26,000 feet, they face, this doesn't sound good, the death zone. This is aptly named because here the body uses up its store of oxygen faster than it can be replenished. To replenish something, that one, check what that means. Wow, that's shocking. So, uses up its store of oxygen faster than it, basically, you're using up your oxygen quicker than you're taking in oxygen. Scary. Sleeping becomes a problem. The muscles begin to waste away and the climber's weight decreases. The body becomes weaker and weaker, so much so that the time above 26,000 feet is severely limited. An extended stay in the death zone without extra oxygen will end in death, hence being called the death zone. So I'm going to say that paragraph 9 is the death zone. Pretty clear. Those climbers who reach the summit of Mount Everest achieve a great dream, but not without a price. They will have pushed their bodies to the utmost and suffered discomforts most of us cannot imagine. They have, however, reached the top of the world, and this is an experience most of us will only ever read about. Fair point. So summing up, that top of the world, you can infer that means it's the highest place on Earth. Lovely. So a lot more. I've made a lot more notes on that one than before. I will give you a bit of a clue that this week's MetaMate is a Words with Wendy. So what is the meaning of words? So you may want to probably jotted down some of the words I've underlined. You may want to just spend 10 minutes or so on Google, or if you've got a dictionary, and just find what these words mean and then give it another read. You might be able to make a bit more sense of it. Okay, so find the definition of some of these words, have another read of it, and hopefully some of the sections make a bit more sense. Some of it should be okay, but that's your task. Get finding what some of these words mean.